You ever wake up and just know deep down that today is going to be the day your patience gets bench pressed by something so dumb you might actually laugh out loud? That's how I felt the morning I opened my front door and found a fluorescent orange sticker glaring at me, slapped on like a parking ticket from a universe where the HOA is judge, jury, and executioner. In big block letters, demand for keys. Underneath, stapled with the kind of authority only an HOA can muster, was a letter thick enough to stop a 22. By Friday at noon, deliver 2 working house keys and a garage remote to the association office, or risk fines, lose pool privileges, maybe even get sued. And then here's the kicker. Your dwelling is association property until you've satisfied all compliance items. I read that line twice just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating then out loud so the universe could hear how dumb it sounded. My house, 7 years sweatin' busted knuckles late nights with plywood and cheap coffee, now apparently belonged to the paperwork mafia. I laughed, honestly I did, because if I didn't, I'd probably yell. I designed that foundation with frozen fingers and a flashlight, held together with tape. My dad taught me to scribe stair treads right there on that porch. Frame the walls myself till my hands locked up. Listen to late-night baseball while tiling the shower, radio static and all. Only association that built this place was me, my rusty old pickup, and the kind of stubborn streak that can outlast county inspectors and 3 winters of delays. So I grabbed a marker and taped my own note up next to that sticker. This is my house. See you later. Might as well set the tone right. Within hours, the neighborhood group chat was already buzzing. Did you get the key demand? That was Tess. New to the block, still thought the HOA was the welcome wagon. Replies flew in. I left mine at the office, said one. It's just for emergencies, chirped another. Then Silas, retired Army medic, wheelchair user, resident genius, drops a legal paragraph. No private group can demand your keys unless you gave them that right in writing. Check your paperwork. Trust me, I know my paperwork. Bought this lot when it was nothing but prairie and promises far edge of the new subdivision, not even a sidewalk yet. The developer's sales rep told me straight, your lot's not in the association. I got it in writing, notarized, filed with the county before the ink was dry. But then the market tanked. The developer bailed a new builder, finished the streets, and somewhere in that shuffle, the HOA tried to annex my parcel and a few others. Sent us glossy packets about harmonious governance. I mailed them right back, not applicable. Never signed, never agreed. Now they wanted my keys because in their alternate reality, my house was association property. That line buzzed in my head all day, so I finally called the number on the letter. Got Nova, the manager voice, like a Disney character ready to plan a wedding or a firing squad. I told her I don't owe keys. My deed says so. She paused, asked for my address, put me on hold, came back with a tone shift you can feel through the phone. Our records reflect an amendment that includes your parcel. Their records. All dwellings within the boundary must provide keys for emergencies for compliance checks. I told her I built this house. I'm not in your boundary. No doc I signed ever put me there. Another pause. You can bring your paperwork to the board meeting, fine, but not my keys. Walked into the office, smelled like copier toner and stress. Board President Darla sat behind a gold nameplate, hair as big as her Certainty blazer, white as a snowstorm. I laid my binder on the table deed plat letter from the first developer stating my lot was exempt every permit from the last 7 years. This is my chain, I said. You can read it, but you can't change it. Darla didn't even touch the papers. We're not debating ownership, she said. Sure, but that's exactly what we were doing. She spun her monitor around color-coded map, my lot shaded, same as all the others. Amended declaration reflects the current boundary. Recorded where I asked. In our book said Bo the treasurer, like Moses, brought it down from the mountain. And at the county, then the county record will show, I said. Until then, you don't get my keys. Left before they could invent a new word for escalated. On my way out, I spotted a flyer. Owners shall provide keys or access codes to ensure compliance and safety. Failure may be deemed abandonment of privileges. That phrase was so pompous, I almost framed it for my shop wall. Look, you can take my pool key if I splash water, but you can't take my front door because you want to admire my smoke alarms. Drove straight to the county recorder. The clerk knows me by my coffee order. She pulled up the HOA amendments, found an attempted annexation. Effective upon consent of affected owners, but no consents attached. Later a correction still, no new signatures. Then a map marked for reference only. She printed it. I bought a certified stamp, headed home. On my porch, Silas was adjusting his wheelchair ramp A-frame with shiny handrails. Board says it's too wide, block sight lines. He frowned. Sight lines to what? The end of the ramp faces a fence. They want uniformity. Told me to reapply with a narrower design. I said, "You're a vet in a wheelchair. They don't get to narrow your access." He shrugged. "Do they get to demand your keys?" "They can demand," I said, "doesn't mean they'll get." That night I fired off 2 letters, a records request for every vote on annexation and key access, and a cease and desist for trespass, because cameras caught someone in an association polo using a generic contractor's key on my side gate, poking at my garage door handle. I printed the stills, stapled them to the letter, hand-delivered both to the office. Nova looked like she wanted to apologize. "I just follow the board," she whispered. "I know, but get it in writing when it's something wild." 2 days later, I'm working on the pergola when a knock like a drum line rattles the door. Darla in a traffic cone blazer and a man in a beige suit, lawyer energy all over him. "Good morning, homeowner," Darla says, like she's reading a verdict. "You're on camera," I point out. "Excellent," says the lawyer. "I'm Quentin, counsel for the association." "Oh, we're serious now." He hands me a notice. $600 special assessment, $150 key penalty, $75 admin fee. Pay up in 10 days or get hit with 12% interest and a lien. I keep it calm. On a parcel not subject to your declaration, Quentin says their records show otherwise. My binder disagrees. Try to slander my title. I'll see you in court. You don't want to test me. Darla tries to de-escalate after they just escalated to lawyer on the porch. Let's resolve this amicably. Bring us the keys, sign the compliance form. We'll talk about your exemption at the next meeting. So you want my keys so you can discuss whether I have to give you my keys. It's for safety, she says, gesturing at my smoke alarms like they're the crown jewels. The good of the community. Community starts with respecting property rights, I shot back. You don't get to declare emergency access to a place you don't own. Quentin's jaw tightened. We'll proceed. Proceed away, I replied. I scanned the cartoonish bill and sent it to Marn, my college buddy turned real estate lawyer. She replied in 5 sentences and 3 citations. They can't annex you without consent. If they record a lien, it's actionable. Don't pay a dime. I'll draft a letter. Petty compliant mode. I put a lockbox on my own front door code, only I know, and a big sign inside the window. This is my house. See you later. EU. Next, Ivy, the coffee trike queen, brings me a cinnamon roll and a worried look. They posted your name on the board's page. Called you uncooperative. Might embroider that on a pillow. I grinned. They tried to fine me for the coffee stand, she said. It's coffee and donuts, not a business. They like rules that feel like rulers. I shrugged. She looked at my sign. That's the straightest edge I've ever seen. At dawn, someone shoved another envelope in my bushes. Final notice before lien citing a statute that didn't even exist. I laughed, then stopped laughing because people careless with paper might be careless with doors. Marn told me to scan everything, bush envelope the works. We're getting a restraining order, she said. While the legal wheels turned, I built a cedar bench for the porch wood burned. This is my house across the back. Felt like a small spell. Nova called. The board will provide redacted minutes. Redacted, whose privacy? The association's. Ask a lawyer if they can redact open votes, I said, and tell them to stop leaving things in my bushes. My camera caught the plate. Silas texted roving patrol measuring my ramp again. Board member Ree, looking like a kid in a safety vest, was measuring angles. Common area sight lines, he muttered. Fence, uniformity, aesthetics. Federal Fair Housing Act isn't about aesthetics, I said. It's about access. You can't write guidelines that make wheelchairs invisible. Ree flushed. Packed up, said Silas, could expect a notice. If I were mean, Silas joked, I'd park in front of the clubhouse ramp with tennis balls. Save your energy, I said. We're going to need it. That night, Marn sent over a draft complaint, asked the court for a declaration and injunction, and damages for slander of title. Letter to the HOA insurer. Sometimes the only leverage that works is letting the money people know the fire's in their kitchen. I printed 2-1 to file one for my binder. Didn't sleep much. At midnight, held my dad's hammer, heard his voice. It's your house, kiddo. It'll listen to your hands. He's gone now, but every screw I drive, he's there. Next morning, 3 stones stacked on my porch. Ivy waved from her trike. For luck, she called. I reread the First Letter Association property until you've satisfied all compliance items. Hilarious, if it wasn't so close to dangerous. So I wrote every neighbor the facts, the fake statute, the ramp battle, the keys. If we don't set a boundary here, the next boundary moves. People started coming by to read my sign. Tess brought lemonade. Priya asked if any HOA can really demand keys. Not without a contract, I said. And good luck trying to keep half a town's keys in a lockbox. That afternoon, Officer Gage stopped by civil standby, said the property manager. I showed him the deed fake statute camera stills. This is a civil matter, he said, but if anyone tries to force entry, call us. If you want to file trespass, it's your call. I kept it in my pocket for now. At 4, the HOA mass emailed everyone cute clip art, lots of legal puffery. I replied all. The association can't demand keys as a condition of occupancy. If anyone wants help reviewing their packet, I'll be on my porch tonight. Pie Lemonade closing packets, a scanner. I ran a one-man title company. Turns out 5 houses on the block had accepted from Covenant's addenda. 3 more had annexed by amendment, but the exhibits didn't exist. Silas had the cleanest paperwork in town. VA loan required no HOA at purchase. Right before the next compliance inspection, I set a chair on the porch binder in lap sticky note, do not waver. The board showed up with their parade Darla in lemon bright blazer bow with clipboard Quentin in a suit that looked allergic to sunlight. Silas rolled up with his access is not an accessory t-shirt, gave me a nod. We're here for the inspection, Darla announced. I decline, I said. No inspection today or ever unless you have a court order and coffee. Quentin handed me a notice of Lean County stamp and all, but they got my lot number wrong and cited a ghost amendment. You clouded the title to a parcel not in your association. That's slander of title, I said, and thanks for the evidence. Police arrived. Gage asked, is there a court order? Nope. Then, if the owner says leave, you leave. They slunk off. Round 1, Silas said. Round 1, I agreed. Round 1. Filed the complaint. Emergency hearing that afternoon. Quentin argued community standards, safety uniformity. Judge wanted proof, got handed a ghost amendment. Where are the consents, she pressed? None. Marn shot down the emergency access logic fire department handles that not private boards. Judge granted the restraining order. HOA barred from my property, can't demand keys, must release the lien in 5 days. She also referred their fake statute to oversight. Block party broke out, coffee lemonade, neighbors cheering, signs in windows. Silas requested ramp accommodation. Board denied it for optics. We filed with the state. HOA released the lien-suspended key access policy. The annexation was rescinded. The insurer pulled coverage. At recall, the old board was out new folks and Nova stayed on but refused unlawful orders. That's how it ended. Not with a spectacle, but with consequences. The rules binder lost weight. Compliance went back to its proper shelf, right next to pool hours, not property rights. My window sign lives in the shop now above the cedar bench. This is my house, not a fortress, just home, where my dad's voice still rides the hammer and paper as a shield, not a weapon, where neighbors actually act like neighbors. When the final order came, Silas and I sat under the pergola clinked mugs. The words on that page, most folks would call them boring, but to me it read like a promise: build live, share coffee, and never hand over your keys to someone who didn't give you the house in the first place. So what do you think, folks? Is it ever right for a private group to demand your house keys? Or is that a line nobody should cross? Share your own stories, your wins, your headaches down in the comments. And remember, this is your house. See you later. It was their mistake.